So anybody who's like alone for Thanksgiving, or if you are going through family court hell and don't have your kids, um, just stay the course. I gave myself today to like make soup and like just like take time to be like in my jammies and get cozy. Like I'm in my studio and um plan to mostly be alone today, and so I could work. And I found I was doing some research the last couple days and on I had court on November 5th, and Judge Wilden in Monterey County, and, denied my ADA accommodations and just acted out of alignment with like federal law and all that, which is like, sucks. And it was really bad, but there were a lot of court watchers there, which like always have court watchers because they can like see things that you can't. And like it's helpful just to have people there to support you who know what you're going through and like know what that feeling is and know how to be like, um but then on the 14th of November, my judge recused herself, but I didn't know until the evening of the 18th of November because I had court scheduled for the 19th when she was like demanding that I come in person to like be in the room with my abuser, which is like there's a documented history of abuse and like I have medical records and OBGYN records and rape crisis records, and I fought for 2 years. I fought for 2 years to keep him out of the public record and like out of the courts, out of my abuser's hands and out of his attorney's hands because they're mine, they're private. And I was still healing through like the trauma of childhood sexual abuse, and then sexual abuse in a intimate in a relationship with intimate partner violence. And in September I got a call from the Monterey Rape Crisis Center where I'd been calling for years with like crisis outcries since I got to Monterey because my ex-husband's abuse had gotten worse and worse, and his proclivities had gotten more and more pronounced. And I didn't want that information out. It was mine. But it was subpoenaed. And I don't know like how it came to be, but there were records that I didn't even know existed because when I was calling anonymously, I like genuinely thought that meant anonymously. Like I didn't know that they kept records of that kind of stuff, which like God bless them and like God bless those angels that work at these crisis centers that like have to do that. But I genuinely thought when I was like making these confidential calls that they were like confidential, but they kept records. And so anyways, those got out in September. And I didn't know who had asked for them, and I didn't know like where they were going and how they were being released. And they just started to seem to like pop up in places I didn't know if like because my mom was my doctor growing up. I didn't know if my mom was I didn't know if like my mom was releasing them or what, but the end of that story is those records got out, at least like into the zeitgeist, and they were records that I didn't even realize existed until September of this year, 2025. This is 2 years after I initially disclosed sexual assault by my ex-husband and intimate partner violence. I disclosed it to the army. I disclosed it to my medical providers. I disclosed it to just the Army Family Advocacy Program, my Special Victims Council. And fast forward to November 5th, I had trial. Judge Wilden was horrific. It violated all of my rights as a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence. And not to mention Americans with Disabilities Act, like everything. And I thought that's why she had recused. But she actually recused because on the 13th of October, when I had submitted that documentation to amend custody orders and to submit the protective order that I had against my ex-husband in Arizona, the, the court clerk published those confidential records. And they were on the public docket for almost a month. It's just like the most violating thing you could think of, that like, as a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence, you have all these confidential records, which, like, I'm not ashamed of what's in those records because it's not my shame to carry. I didn't do it to myself. Something was done to me. And I've learned through, like, my trauma healing and therapy that, like, it's not my shame to carry. But, like, as a survivor, when you reach out for help and you get confidential, like, medical assistance, confidential counseling, and then, like, even when I went to the links as a survivor to, like, file it in the state of California under the Safe at Home program, which allows you to file it anonymously as a Jane Doe, like, a clerk would make such an egregious error. And I'm just trying to, like, let my body understand that it's okay, and I've come a lot farther in my healing than I realized, but there's a difference when you're a survivor and, like, you share what happened to you. And then when somebody else does it for you against every single law, like, there are so many laws that were violated, like, beyond just, like, my dignity and my, like, privacy. And then this had, like, my private home address, my email address, my phone number, and these documents literally say confidential, filed under seal. Instead, they were just, like, published on the official court docket. So anybody who wanted to see them, which is, like, my biggest fear and why I kept them out of the courts for so long, because I didn't want my kids to ever see that. Like, this is stuff that, like, I told my doctors and, like, exams that my doctors did. Like, it's so violating. It's so violating. And, like, that's what my abuser used to do. He used to share my private medical records with people, and it's just like, like, violating somebody's, like, body. And then sharing that violation when they go to get help, like, processing what happened to them, like, it's just very, like, it's so dehumanizing, and to these people, it's just, like, 137 pages of documents that to them are just like a stamp on a page, and to me, and to my kids, it's 137 pages of pain and suffering and healing. I mean, it has everything. Like, it's just so violating. It's so violating. And like to think that like anybody could have gotten it, and they did. Like, and it's stamped by the clerk. But I know God's gonna like use this for his glory. I know he's gonna like use it to like bring my babies back and to help other survivors. But for right now, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm just really, really, really heartbroken. And I wanted to like make this before I lost the courage to do it, so that like if you're a survivor, like it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve what happened to you. It's okay to grieve that people be mad at you for sharing what happened to you. But if we don't speak out as survivors and share our lived experience like in real time, then we lose the opportunity to help somebody who like this is happening to, and like they may not have anybody to turn to. And I have a really beautiful network of other domestic violence survivors and women and men who've been through healing. I'm friends with even like men who were perpetrators of domestic violence who have like atoned and have like made amends. And that's part of the healing process of all of this, is like there can never be healing until your perpetrator takes responsibility for what they've done and seeks atonement or seeks forgiveness, and they seek contrition. But now I just have to like legally weigh my options and just try to like figure out what steps are next. And just trust that like God always has a plan. And but anyways, I just wanted to make this so that any other survivors who are still healing, if your like rights were violated, just like, I'm here and I'm with you and I support you. Um, Thank you guys for joining, and just know that like everything happens for a reason, even if we can't understand it. And for my kids, I'm so sorry.